Over here to my right.
Hey.
We forgot something on the docket for football, so we're going to cover it real fast.
I don't know how we forgot.
I don't know how we forgot this. Because, once again, I think that we have to be disappointed. There's some great guys who made the list. Mm-hmm. And we are, of course, talking about the Hall of Fame inductions for this year for the NFL.
Yes.
What did you think of the list?
I like the
Terrell
list.
Davis, Jerry Jones, Mortensen,
LaDainian Tomlinson,
Kurt Warner,
and who's Jason Taylor, Morton Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. I like that one a lot, actually. Morton Anderson getting in, and Kenny Easley, safety for the Seahawks back in the 80s.
How do you feel about the list overall?
I like it. I like the list. I like that Terrell Davis got in.
Yeah.
For having his career cut short.
What he did.
He was a beast. Man. And, being a Raider fan, oh, my gosh. He used to – it seemed like every time you get the ball, he was scoring.
So it kind of reinforces the fact that it's kind of maybe more about how you change the game and what you do to the game while you're there.
It should
as opposed to –
right.
So, I mean, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Bo's not in. Is that correct?
I don't think he is.
Bo Jackson's not in.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
But should he be?
So. Yeah.
He should be.
Yeah.
For the little bit of time that he was in the game, he impacted it.
He was dominant.
Drastically.
Yeah.
He was the best back in the league while he was there. Yeah. And so, I mean, it must be too late for Bo to even have a chance to get in.
Yeah,
but it just makes me think about that. Are you happy? Are you satisfied with the list overall? Are there names that have been left off?
There's one that's an obvious snub. That's the question is it going to continue to where it falls off and he never gets in? And that's Terrell Owens. This is a guy that if he had the attitude of a
Julio Jones,
a Russell Wilson, just a happy no waves guy, first ballot.
Yeah,
the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie. Second in the NFL in career receiving yards. Third
dominated on almost
in the
every team
NFL in
he's
receiving
been on.
touchdowns. He led the NFL in touchdowns for 3 seasons. 5-time AP All-Pro.
I mean, these numbers are the Voldemort of lies. There's no nose at all. Like he has negative nose.
Exactly.
He's the third best receiver of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason why he shouldn't be in, and
People don't like his attitude.
It's just crazy the reason why he's not in.
I agree.
And then they're gonna turn around and say, "Oh, it's just not his year. It's not his year."
They'll say that. Oh, was it? How many times can they be nominated? Was it? What'd you say? 4 or 5?
It was either 4 or 5
before they can't be nominated again.
Yeah.
They're gonna say that at least for the first 3 or 4.
Can you be nominated even if you were like way back when? Let's say if you retire, right, and you're not,
ever considered,
and you're never considered, and can you only be considered for a certain amount of time? Let's say if you never got votes, and
let's get the official number.
If Bo Jackson never got consideration
ever,
so
if he was never got nominated,
if you never got nominated, could someone show up? Because I actually learned a bit about the process over the weekend. It's all the voters, they get together in a room, and then someone speaks for each person on the list. And they come in with 15 names. They cut 5 names at a time. And so for each of the 15 guys, someone's going to speak up and speak on their behalf.
But even before that, it starts out at 100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then that's what's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to get down to just 15, to
get down to less than 10.
Pop for you.
Yeah.
Because somebody can vouch for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
so they have discussion and they debate. So someone would bring up. And I wonder what that conversation's like. Somebody brings up Terrell Owens, who didn't even make the first cut, by the way, out of the 15. He made the top 15, but he was cut in that first round of cuts. Didn't make the top 10. And so I wonder, I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that part of the conversation, because somebody obviously had to speak for him. Someone's obviously voting for him, at least the one person that's speaking for him. Mm-hmm. So what is the rest of the conversation like? Like, how could you even try to perpetrate that lie that it's not about his attitude?
You don't say the words.
You just let it go? You just don't bring it up?
You give those, those different facts.
No, man. I'm glad that Kurt Warner got in.
I like his story, man. You know, I just like the guy was bagging groceries and to bagging cornerbacks.
Kurt Warner might have the best stat I've ever heard in the NFL.
What's that?
Ever. The only quarterback to go to a Super Bowl whenever he plays all 16 games.
That's a good sign.
So if he played the whole regular season, they were going to the Super Bowl. And I think it only happened twice. But still, that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty cool stat. So I'm glad he got in. LaDainian Tomlinson was obviously a shoo-in. What do you think about Jerry Jones? Yeah. What does that mean for a Hall of Famer, for Jerry Jones to be a Hall of Famer?
He changed the game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Changed the game. It's just don't, if you like the guy, it's cool.
I mean, what do you
If
think,
don't,
Stephanie?
then it's like, man.
I was told if you don't have anything nice to say, to not say anything
All
at
right.
all. No, I don't.
It's a little different than like 10 minutes ago.
Well, no, I was saying I hate him, but I love him still. So no, I mean, you got to give it to him. He has made some big moves in the game. I'm not his biggest fan, but it's if he didn't do as well as he did and didn't make the moves that he made, I wouldn't care one way or the other, or even know who he is to dislike him.
That's true.
So,
that's a very good point. He's probably the most recognizable owner in the entire NFL.
I couldn't tell you who half of the owners are, but I know who he is. Yeah, and Al Davis. Whether it's good or bad, you know who they are. So
definitively, you know who he is.
Exactly.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah. I mean, who else builds a stadium and then makes it too small that you kick the TVs the very first game? So no, but
we're gonna make adjustments.
He's done some good things as well. That one just stands out because it was the funniest moment to me for football. Like first game and such a huge big deal when he had that new stadium. That was such a big deal for that stadium, and then to kick on the first kickoff and hit the top.
Yeah, that was
hilarious.
pretty cool.
So I know you had some basketball you wanted to get into.
Mm-hmm. Are we still talking about Hall of Fame? I have one more question.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So I know we had some people retire this year. The one name that sticks out to me the most, though, from Atlanta, or had a start in Atlanta, Michael Vick retired this year.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that.
Is Michael Vick a Hall of Famer?
He is.
He has to be a Hall of Famer.
I think he has to be.
Does he have the?
I don't know if he has
the numbers.
I don't know if he has the numbers.
But he has some great seasons.
Yeah, and he
some great
affected the
games.
game.
He changed the game.
Yeah.
In terms of the way we view what we want in a mobile quarterback.
Even if let's say he has the numbers. Let's give him the numbers. Does he not fall in the same position as a Terrell Owens?
Because of what he did?
Because of the dog fighting. I say yes.
I feel like it's a race.
I say if he has
I feel like it's a race thing with Michael Vick. I do. Yeah. I hate to go there. I do. I completely think that.
I don't agree with you.
I'm not gonna say he doesn't play into it, but I think it's more the dogs than
I think
the race for him.
I think
just
the level.
because
I think it's both.
It was like.
I think
it was just so unnecessary, and the level and extent that it went to, like how many animals were abused and how big the ring and interactions were and his dealings into it. It was just so bad. It was so hard for him to come back from that. I think race didn't help that factor. I mean, we are talking about the NFL. They are a lot harsher on some people than others. We can see it time and time
again. And I think
again.
that's what I mean in terms of what I'm saying. Yeah.
And there's people. But at the same time, you see people who have been suspended for games or cut off for a year or whatever, that they've come back and they've not been treated as badly as he has. I know people who, throughout his entire career, even when he came back, were like, I will not be that team. I will not cheer for that team with that dog killer on the team. And it just, even doing speeches for against animal abuse after that, he could not get away from it. He could have been a public speaker every day, every hour that he wasn't on the field, and I don't think it would have been ever enough for him to recover from. It was so bad for him.
All right, career stats: 133 touchdowns, 88 interceptions, 22,464 yards with an overall quarterback rating of 80.4. No numbers.
I don't think so, man.
So no Hall of Fame for Michael Vick.
He
was so iconic.
I want to say yes. I want to say yes because of what we saw on the field. You know, the other who's close to that? Randall Cunningham.
In terms of the way he was,
As far as what he was able to do on the field and change it. I don't know.
I don't think he's going to get in. I think he'll get votes. I think he's going to get considered. He might get votes. He might even end up in the top 15, but I don't think he's going to get in.
Well, he feels he belongs in there.
Well, I feel that same way too. But what we're talking about in terms of what SG just went over, right? People are petitioning to get him kicked off the team in Pittsburgh. You know? And it followed him. It still follows him. And I guess one thing that we don't really know yet is how the writers feel about him. Because that's really what it's going to end up being.
Well, I mean, you can kind of get a guess if you see how T.O. is being treated.
But I think the T.O. thing and the Michael Vick thing are different. Like, I think people like Michael Vick in terms of,
you never really heard attitude problems from his teammates and coaches
like
from Vic.
Like you like him.
Hear about T.O.
People don't like T.O. in terms of the person that he is.
Right.
And so I think that the determination is going to come down to how do they feel about his dealings and what he did. And that'll be the final consideration in terms of, obviously, the voters have the power. So.
Yeah. So that's Pete Rose.
For real. Poor guy. Sorry, Pete.
So the Kings beat the Warriors this weekend.
Well, hopefully they lose tonight.
What's the score on that game? You have it up?
I had it up. They were losing, but it just started an hour ago. So
they being the Kings?
Kings Bulls game, yeah. It's just going on today.
Well, you said they were losing.
Kings were losing, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the Kings, they beat the Warriors the other day.
They're still losing.
60-45.
60-45.
That's not surprising. You know what? After you beat the Warriors, if you're the Kings, you're going to come back and
but if you look at our records, man, the Bulls, we're not doing so hot this season. We're 25-26. Kings are 20-31. So we've only got a handful of wins more than they do.
You know what's so sad? The Kings are threatening for an 8 seed.
That's scary.
This is why I don't like the NBA. Why? Where's the parity?
It's the NBA.
Where is the parity?
It's a business.
Yep. Just like
it's not a sport when you get to the NBA.
Says the Patriots fan.
Yeah, I don't.
But there's still parity in the NFL, right? The Steelers get in, they might go all the way. The 4-6, not Dallas Cowboys, Packers, they're gonna run the table, even though they're 4-6. The Giants, the years that they won, they weren't doing well at the beginning of the season. Next thing you know, they get into the playoffs and they make a run as a wild card team. So things can happen if you get there in the NFL. If you get there in Major League Baseball, things can happen, right? If you're the 8 seed in this year's Western Conference, I mean, all you're doing is getting a ticket to get your butt whipped by the Warriors in round 1.
Yeah, I think for what you want,
I don't think I don't think it's possible.
You'd have to spread out the superstars.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible.
Not the way people play now.
Not how the game is going now.
Yeah.
Not how you needed to be watching you need to be watching the sport when I was growing up.
Yep.
Because then it was a little different. Now the top teams were winning at the end, of course, just like now.
Yeah.
But it was a lot more competitive throughout the season.
Yeah. And that's what I want, right? I don't need the Kings to win a championship. That would be nice. I don't need, the Milwaukee Bucks to win a championship. That would be nice for the league, just to see a team like the Milwaukee Bucks or the Kings win a championship. But I want to see more competitiveness.
The Celtics are number 2 in the East right now.
They're the Celtics.
They would be number 6 in the West.
What are you saying? What's your argument?
There's no hope for what you want.
And I know that, and it breaks my heart.
But you could still root, though. You can still root for your team because it's still hope.
I
still play the game.
I do root for my team, but this is the way I feel about it. If I'm a Kings fan, most of the time, unless it's like a marquee matchup, I'm probably not going to watch a game, right? If the Atlanta Hawks are playing the Knicks, I'm probably not going to watch that game.
You might miss something.
I might miss something, and you're right. I probably miss a lot because I don't watch a lot of basketball for the reason I'm talking about right now. Right? I will watch my team anytime that they're on.
See, I'm not a Hawks fan, but I watched them for a minute because Kyle Korver went from my Bulls to Atlanta, and they were great.
Yeah.
They were killing it.
And,
So
and there were great players in these games. Well, I said Atlanta. Kyle Korver was playing for Atlanta. Atlanta has great players. The Knicks have Porzingis, D Rose, Carmelo Anthony. So there's obviously talent, but I feel like the games don't matter. I really feel like that. And just to go back to my example, look at the 4-6 Packers this year. People would say, "Oh, if they're 4-6 through 10 games, they're not going to do anything. They're done." Right? But that can still change. Therefore, you can actually see progress in what can change within the span of a season. If you're talking about a team in the NBA, if you're the Celtics, who probably aren't going to go anywhere this year, you're still trying to find a way to build your team to win in the next couple of years, right? You're still trying to develop the guys that you have, to put more guys around guys like Isaiah Thomas to win in the future. And I think that degrades the value of the games that they do have if you're not one of these teams like the Cavs, the Warriors, the Clippers, who probably aren't going to win anything at all.
but you have to. But all right, are you a basketball fan or are you a Kings fan? Because I think it could be different. Because if you're a basketball fan, then the basketball is what attracts you. If you're a Kings fan, then you're attracted to what your team is doing. So then, therefore, your feelings about what you see is going to be different. So it really comes out to what you want out.
I think I'm not a basketball fan because of the way basketball is, though. I like basketball. I grew up playing basketball.
But it's different.
I love good basketball. But I want to feel like it matters.
you want, but then do you only watch playoffs on any sport? Because that would be the same for baseball and football. Like none of these games, there's so many teams that they either don't play their best players, or they sit people, or they don't play risky plays because they're looking at the longevity of their season. So then none of those. Basketball, baseball.
Okay.
There's plenty in almost every sport you can apply it, because then none of those games up until it's either a close records between teams or you're getting close to playoffs, then none of those games are going to be relevant because you're not going to have that same feeling and push that you have at the end of the season and in those games.
The answer is no.
None of those are going to matter.
The answer is no. I do watch other sports when it's outside of playoffs, but in any other sport, you don't know what's going to happen. For the most part, right? We can sit here and say the Patriots are probably going to be favored next year. The Cowboys, another one of those teams. Like, we know who's going to be at the top. The Oakland Raiders are probably going to be, at some point, one of the top teams favored to win. But at the end of the day, we still don't know what's going to happen. We still don't know who's going to make it. Atlanta might make it back. It might end up being, I don't know, Atlanta and Miami. Maybe Miami gets really good and they have a really good season next year. And they and you don't know.
But you knew that that the Cavs and the Warriors are going to make it, but you didn't know who was going to win, especially after the 3-1 lead. So there is some. However, I will say this once again to you, and I know I've said this numerous times. If you want what you say you really want, you need to watch more college sports.
Yep.
Because that is where
that's the content. Because those are the people fighting for the contracts.
What you want
they
is
play 100% all
sport.
game.
You want the fight. You want them to really want that right there and to play for that right there every time you watch. So what you're going to get it from more is college sports, because they're trying to get to that next level. And the only way they can get to that next level,
and they're putting it on the line every game because they don't know if that scout's going to be there the next game.
That's where it matters.
I have been watching a lot of Stanford basketball.
So so how do you feel about it a little bit now that you've watched a little bit more? I don't even know their record this year.
I don't like them. I don't like them, the team. I like basketball. I like going to the games, but their team, I don't like them.
Okay, but do you feel a difference between when you're watching that than when you're watching a regular NBA game?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a difference in terms of just the gameplay, which is what we're talking about, right? I'm still waiting to see one of the top teams in the conference, like the Arizona or Oregon. The teams that lead the conference. I'm sure UCLA is probably up there as well.
Game here at Pacific.
Yeah. Oh, and Gonzaga's undefeated right now, right?
Yeah. They played Pacific like a month ago.
What was the score?
Gonzaga came back in the second half.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was it close though?
It was close in the first half.
That's good. But it's just interesting watching them play. They have a new head coach this year, Jared Haas. Their main star player would be Reed Travis, or is it Travis? He has two first names. I believe it's Reed Travis though, or I don't know. It's one of the two. But sometimes they look like they play really well, but they're not going to compete long term. And so I really want to see. I think you're right, and I think because I'm watching them, I'm going to end up watching a lot more college basketball.
Oh, you'll be just watching March Madness.
Yeah. But even then, man, if you don't watch college and you appreciate professional sports, it takes it to a whole nother level when you see them. Like, prime example, I didn't know who this was, and it sounds bad because I didn't used to watch college sports for the longest time, and it was NCAA football on the PlayStation that got me into it, and LaShawn McCoy. Watching him play for Pitt.
Yeah.
And then watching it on the video game and how great, it sounds stupid, but he was so great in the video game, I was like, man, who is this kid? So I started watching Pitt on TV, and you start seeing these plays, and it's tenfold compared to what you see him doing in the NFL now. Tenfold. Because it was like, it was the best LaShawn McCoy in every game, every time you put it on the TV. Not just when he needed to turn it up to win the game, because he already has the contract, and now he's just trying to stay healthy for the whole season. Gotcha. It's trying to get that contract. Like, it was amazing.
See, and exactly what you said right there, trying to play for the contract and worry about staying healthy. That's the difference right there, because then you watch the league, so you're like, all right, is this guy playing for that contract or is he serious? Okay, well, that guy is playing for the heart. That guy, you could tell, is playing for the money. So
kind of like Randy Moss when he went to the Raiders. For the longest
time, it was hard for me to watch baseball for that reason. I kid you not. Like, when Barry Bonds played for the Giants at the end of his career, and I know this is a bad example because you're a Giants fan, and some people feel it's a little unbiased, but I couldn't stand it. If he's playing for a team that doesn't have a DH slot, so it annoyed me because he's not out there in the field going 100% for fielding balls. I get his job. He's there to hit bombs. Yeah. But if he's not a DH, he still has a defensive role to play. So to not play that, it infuriated me, because I'm like, there's a dozen guys that are out there that are fighting for that contract, that would lay out for those balls, that would make a dive for that play to win the game, and he doesn't care because he already has that contract. He's just hitting home runs. So
getting rounder and rounder.
Yeah, it gets frustrating because they get up there and they're just okay.
What position was he playing at the end of his career?
Outfield, left field. He played left field, and then he played left field, and then when he get injured or something, he would play first base. But he was a left fielder.
At the end of his career?
Yes. Dude, I went to a game. It was when he was going for. This is when he got the asterisk year. When he had the going for the home run. I took my son. My son was like 4 at the time, but we were in the outfield, and he was in left field, and you have people yelling steroids the whole game. Steroids. But he's out in the outfield and not diving for balls, not laying out for nothing, letting stuff drop for a one hopper and then throwing it in.
Why not put him on third base or first
base? Why not put him to a team where he's a DH and he could go up and just hit the ball and then put somebody out on the field that's going to do it? But he didn't do it. But he got the little asterisk, but he didn't do much else, because after that his career was pretty much over. What, a year or two after that?
But then you don't have the greatest hitter of all time playing for your team.
He just needed to go somewhere else.
I thought you were an A's fan.
I am, but that's a frustration I have with baseball in general, is people playing on a team that it's not a DH team and you're not giving 100% in that position. There are people out there who will give 100%, and that's why kids fall in love with that game and want to play it and emulate these people. And then you get these people who are watered down and don't care and care about the money, and then you lose the love of the game. And that's why we have these talks that we have now, because people are more worried about the money than actually playing the sport, because they love the sport and because the sport is what it is and it brings what it brings to communities.
In a sport with no salary cap as well.
That too.
So, I mean, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the DH? Do you prefer the pitcher? I mean, I know you're an A's fan, so does that factor
in? Are you asking what my favorite position is? Or no,
like...
Or for somebody who's not...
do you prefer the American League style, or do you prefer National League style of play?
I don't mind either. I don't mind either. For me, it's just, if you're in a position, give 100% to that position. If you are in a fielding position, don't play it like a DH. Don't play it like you're only there to hit home runs. Play your position. Play left field. Talk to your center fielder. Line up. Go running and try to jump off the wall if you have to for a home run, if you can make it. Don't just let it go over and watch it.
It sounds like someone needs to put you on the team.
No, they can't handle me because when I start talking about baseball, they get mad because I know as much as they do, and guys don't like when girls know as much about baseball as they do.
Hey, it's a business. If she can help us,
but they don't like it.
Trust
me, I've tried coaching baseball, and they get mad at you, and then they want you to go sit in the stands because you know the sport, and it doesn't work well.
That sounds very familiar. You know what one of my favorite baseball stories is that women. There's no rule in baseball that says that women can't play.
No, they just
women
don't like it.
have been unofficially banned because a woman back in the early 1900s struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
See?
In an exhibition game.
Some of the best softball players I know started out playing baseball.
Yeah, and so they got mad, and they're like, no woman's ever going to play this game ever.
See?
And that's why.
Because they don't want to get shown up.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I get it. It's the same reason you start in a conversation typically, unless you know, like how here you guys know, we know each other, so we're all fairly educated on the other person's sports knowledge. Mm-hmm. So we're aware that we're not coming in here wet behind the ears thinking we don't know anything about anything. Yet you go into an area, and if you're a female and you walk in and you say you're a fan of sports, you're instantly drilled. Name 5 people on such and such team, or name this and name that. You guys don't have to deal with that. But then if you can answer those questions, it's an instant turn off, or oh my gosh, you're so too much of a tomboy, or you must be this or that. I mean, it's a constant struggle.
That's so sad. Because
it happens every day.
I think the worst thing is when a girl that you're interested in, or goes, oh yeah, I'm a sports fan, and then they're not. Or the ones who they're like, oh my gosh, I have a favorite team, and it's just because that guy that they're dating right now, that's their favorite team. So they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a Giants fan too. What do you know? Well, if you're not actually a sports fan and you're gonna date a guy who is a sports fan and you want to root for his team, at least say that that's what it is.
That's what I'm saying. At least own it that you're not a real fan. You're like, I like the game because
by association. I'm a Pats fan, or I'm a Raiders fan. But the girls were like, oh yeah, I like the Ravens because their jerseys are purple. Yeah. My favorite color is purple.
Yeah, match my nails.
They have the prettiest cheerleaders, and I think I look like them, so that's my favorite.
I'm actually a lesbian, so they're all kind of hot. But a girl that's actually into sports is awesome.
I agree.
If you have a girl who knows what she's talking about.
But at the same time, it really takes a secure male to be able to deal with that. Because then you know that you're going to at least have some intelligent conversations or some back and forth disputes on plays or the way the game goes if you're familiar with the rules. So, and some guys can't handle that at all. And I mean, that's okay, but don't try to belittle us just because we know as much as you do. We just like the sport too.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. It brings in more conversation you can talk about, right?
Because
then you don't have to hide your sport.
You see different aspects of the sport.
You just can't beat the guy at sports every time. I'll say that as a female. You can't go and be like, "Hey, let's go play basketball."
Are you letting somebody win over there?
I'm not, but that's probably why I'm still single, because I'm not letting anybody beat me. Like, you really have to beat me, and I'm not going to cheat, but I'm doing everything I can do to beat you.
I will say that I know that you are super competitive.
I hate to lose.
And you like to downplay.
I hate to lose.
You like to downplay your skill. No, I'm not that good.
Because I don't like to boast like that. I feel like it's bad juju. Yeah. Like, it's just like going in and playing video games. I don't feel like I'm that good because I'm used to playing with higher caliber people. Like, I play softball and I feel like I'm not the best player, but I've played with people who on my team have played in the Olympics for softball. So I see these people and I'm like, you're amazing. So to me, I'm like, nah, I'm not on that level. I'll go play catcher. You know what I mean, for slow pitch. But these are people that are amazing to me. So
do you play? What's the name of that park? Lewis Park.
I used to. Yeah. I don't. I like that field to a point, but it's unfortunately we get charged an awful lot to play slow pitch softball, and that's not saying just Stockton. That's pretty much anywhere in our area. For a team, as a player, you're looking at paying $50 up per season for 8 games. That's not including your entrance fees to get into parks. And as an athlete, playing your game...
What does that even mean?
Oh, no, I'll get there. So you pay your money to pay in the league, which covers the umpire in the field, to rent the field for that one day a week.
It's $50 a head.
It's actually probably anywhere between 50 to 75, depending on which league you're in. That's only goes for 8 weeks, so it's 8 games, and then you have a playoff.
A team of 9 players, so almost $700.
It's about $550 for a team to register. And now you also have to, in certain cities, you have to pay registration fees that are $15 per player for 1 year. So once you pay that $15, it covers you for your 3 seasons. So, but the first season, you're paying $70. Now, also, fields have an entrance fee. So it's anywhere from $1 to $4 to enter the field. And if you're playing in the game, you still pay the entrance fee. So add that on times 10 for the season, and you're looking at a solid, easy $100 for a T-shirt.
They charge
for a chance at a T-shirt.
To show up when you're playing?
Yeah. Manteca, you pay $4 to get in the field, but you get a $1 token back for their
food, the
concession stand. Yeah. So, and I mean, don't get me wrong, BLD is a nice field, but you're paying $75 to play there, plus you're paying $4 a game.
So the people who run the
plus an additional $40
don't own the parks where you're playing.
No.
Why they're making
most of the leagues are kind of like the rec leagues. They're usually run through the city. So that's a lot of the reason, like for us, if you play competitive, it's for practice. So it's like batting practice, it's church leagues, like for fun, stuff like that. But unless you're really like, you really love the game, or you just love hanging out with like 10 people every week, like those are like your 10 people, it's expensive. So unless you're doing tournaments on the weekend, that's your only shot to win money. Like, and then it's worth money because then you pay $200 for a tournament, but you have a chance to win $500. So it's better than a T-shirt. It's definitely more competitive, though. That's where you get into the professional athletes.
Did you ever play, Alex?
Olympians and stuff.
No softball for Alex?
No.
Just basketball?
Batting
football,
cages.
track.
He killed it at some batting cages.
Oh,
Yeah, I played baseball.
I thought you'd look good with the bat in your arm.
When I was a kid, I played. That was my first sport. But it didn't stick.
That was the sport I wanted to play when I was a kid, but then I never did. I never played Little League at all.
When I was growing up, everybody was just playing that around me. And then as I got older, well, actually that and football, but I couldn't play football when I was a kid. So freshman year, that was the first year. But I played football, basketball, track throughout high school.
I played basketball and soccer. My mom wouldn't let me play football. No, you're not playing football.
I played everything. Everything. I played soccer,
I
softball,
played
water polo, volleyball, track and field, except for golf. Golf and tennis. I didn't get to do that. I wasn't very good at that.
Tennis is hard.
Yes, it is.
Tennis is hard.
Tennis is hard.
Took tennis. We took tennis lessons several years ago. This was like many, many moons ago. But the tennis actual lessons here in Stockton are pretty amazing. I will say that.
Where at?
Right over at Oak Park. They have a tennis school that you can go there, and they have different levels of classes that you can take.
On Alpine?
Yeah, right on Alpine. They have
fun.
classes, and yeah, it's like beginner, intermediate, and they block off like 3 or 4 of the courts, and you go over into the corner, and you have an instructor, and he goes over some basic stuff. It's like 6 or 8 classes. I can't remember which, but it's a lot of fun. That's so you do learn a lot, but it is one of the things that I always watched and was like, oh man, that looks easy. Like, I'm athletic. I could do that, right? No, it's not something you can just pick up and go play.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's not.
It's not basketball. It's not baseball. Like, it's
It
hard.
humbled me.
It is hard.
It's a legacy sport.
Yeah.
You have to have money, and you have to
Oh,
have,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
you have to
because
have-
it's
you have to have people to
Ultimate
you
teach.
have to have a
access.
lot of
Yeah.
trainers.
Just like golf.
Exactly.
Just like golf.
Yeah, it's a well, like volleyball too. Legacy sports, they are expensive.
So before we go, just because we talked about that, never mind. I was asked a question about Serena Williams, but I'm gonna let it go.
All right.
I'm gonna let it go. We're gonna slide out of the studio. It seems to be progressively getting warmer and warmer in here.
It is. We're baking in here.
I don't know how.
We even killed the lights, and it's still hot in here.
How warm is that light? Are you baking right now?
Yeah.
I would have turned it off, man. But we're gonna be back out of here. A show on Thursday, 7 to 9.
Yes.
Make sure that you tune in. And then of course, make sure you check out Freedomizer Radio. These folks are gonna be on. I believe it's 9 to 10:30.
9 to 10:30 on Saturday on Ready Set Sports.
So make sure you tune into that. And then if you're free in the mornings, Monday through Friday, you'll catch the Rise and Shine 209 morning show with the 2 gentlemen who are in the room, Alex
That's
and London
right.
Mark, with 2 lovely ladies, Nikki D and Ms. J. And those shows are always fun. Laughs, politics, anything that seems to come out of our mouths. It's always pretty good. There's always some laughs. Make sure you tune into that. Until then, we'll be getting out of your hair.
Peace and hair grease.
You guys be nice to each other out there.